So hello, and thank you all for being here for this recap on from the day one sessions that we had on women in mountain biking. It's really good and how to support women in mountain biking. It's really good to talk to everybody here because the positions that you have in your organizations and in mountain biking, there's really an opportunity to help and support to make more women feel welcome in mountain biking in all places, so in industry, in advocacy, trail building, and just out on the trails riding bikes. Just to introduce myself, so I have a background in racing, so I spent 10 years racing downhill, 6 years professional on the World Cup circuit, kind of at the competing with the top girls, which was super cool. And since then I've become an ambassador, mountain bike ambassador, but really found my way into trail advocacy and also talking about environmental issues. And this year I joined the IMBA Europe Board, which is really cool to be in this position to help shaping things like the women's sessions and just bringing this perspective. So I've been a girl and woman in mountain biking for 25 years, so quite a while. And I think we all know there's been a lot of progress, like a lot of progress from 20 years ago and more, but we still have a long way to go. We know that it's around 20% participation. It depends where you are, and the data is, we still need to know for sure, but around 20% women riding bikes, and also at this IMBA Europe Summit through the years, and we really want to invite more and more women to come and be part of these conversations. So just before going into the outcomes from these sessions, I really want to thank Thomas, President of IMBA Europe, who really started these conversations and recognized that IMBA Europe as an organization wants to do more to support mountain biking, to support women in mountain biking and mountain biking, obviously, and generally inclusivity as a whole, but we start here, or we put the focus here to start. Might be a little bit confusing. There was 2 sessions Wednesday afternoon. So we had women in outdoor sports, so this was for everybody. And that was with Fiona from the FIES framework, University of Bristol with research. How do we do this? How do we make the steps? And what actions do we take to improve how many women are mountain biking and how many feel really welcome in mountain biking? And then we also had a meeting afterwards just for women for the start. So we wanted to talk about what do we want a European Women in Mountain Biking network to look like? Why do we want it? What do we want it to do? And what does it look like? So just to talk first about Fiona's session, because this was for everybody. And I was kind of looking around the room to see who was there. And we did have in that session, there was 30% men and 70% women. And obviously there are other sessions happening at the same time, but 2 things I took from this. I think very nearly all of the women were maybe there. We really care about this. And this really tells us, we do feel a difference and we do really want to help improve the experience we have or to progress the experience we have in mountain biking. And interestingly, it also completely flipped the tables in terms of like the normal gender balance in mountain biking. Suddenly, we were the main majority, and maybe the men were feeling a little bit, how confident do I feel in speaking my mind? So I just want to focus on this a little bit first. April's idea was really great to get the perspectives of the men who joined, to see what they thought, how did they feel in this kind of workshop. And I did it after dinner, so after a few glasses of wine, which I think was the best time to do this, to get the, free to speak their mind. And it was really great. The guys who joined, they really enjoyed listening and hearing new perspectives and getting new ideas and feeling motivated to make changes, to go away. Fiona asked us to put commitments on the board. What do we want to do to try to help this? And really, really feeling inspired by that. And going away with real ideas, recognizing the need, that we have this open communication. What are the barriers? What do we feel? What are the steps to help? And the more we can explain how we feel and why, the easier it is to help shift the culture and the environment to be, and the community to feel inclusive for everybody. Someone had gone away to look at their websites, and on their national organization, they found one photo of a woman far away in the distance. Something they hadn't, it wasn't in their mind before, and now it will be. And that this can be a difficult topic to discuss. Sometimes, you don't know if you say the wrong thing, but this person really enjoyed it and would really like to participate in something again. So we would really like to find a way to make something like this available to everybody, maybe when you don't have to choose between different sessions, and give everyone the opportunity to come and have these conversations. And I think most of these shows, we really need to keep having the conversations, and it keeps going, very much like trail advocacy. It's a work in progress. There's never quite an end point, but we really want to, keep having the conversations to work towards the goal of more women in mountain biking and in mountain bike communities, and absolutely being valued for what we bring to the table, because there really are opportunities in the perspectives that we can bring from our experiences. So to get to the perspectives of the women who joined the meeting afterwards, so we had kind of an hour meeting. We stayed on afterwards when everyone was riding. I felt quite bad that, we had another hour and a half when the sun was shining, but it was a really great session. And what we really wanted to do is to support who is already in mountain biking now, and provide the communication links, and build the network and increase the visibility of the women who are here, because there are lots of really amazing women, and they are here, we know that. So we want to showcase who we are, what we can do, and what we're doing already. And that and kind of to support the women who are here, and that we want to see more and more women in these leadership roles as well, this can really help make mountain biking more appealing to everyone, from picking up a mountain bike to turning up to maintenance days or advocacy meetings, and really getting stuck in this side of what we do. So we asked about the challenges. What barriers do we have? What changes do we want to see? What do we want from a European network in mountain biking going forward? And what would we like to see in the next year and a half, when we turn up at the next IMBA Europe Summit? What might we like to see? Some of this we carry on with conversations afterwards, of course. So I'll just summarize what we talked about, and obviously we will be taking this further and having some online meetings with other women who couldn't be here at the summit this year. So some of the challenges, quite really feeling in the room, and I recognize as well, there can be a struggle to feel legitimate and respected, and sometimes, you have do they know what they're doing? Or do they know, do they really know what they say? And this feeling of feeling equivalent to everybody else in the room and feeling accepted. And that if you're in an organization where you're the minority, you can ask what it feels like. What does the environment feel like? And one of the words was edited. Sometimes you have to really think, even in a meeting, conversation, how do I say this? How do I frame this to get across, I really know what I'm saying and I have input to provide here. And it can also be isolating if you're the only woman. Obviously, you are all lovely, and I have really lovely experiences. But, this feeling of being the only one is common. And we also want these topics to not be a bolt-on. We really thought about how best to do this for this summit. And we would like to see focus going forward at the next year, and inclusivity in general, as also a focus for what we're thinking about. So for changes, again, this feeling of wanting to feel like there's a recognition of a shared responsibility to change. So mountain bike community, we all make it up. We can all help towards inclusivity. And the real importance to hear what we say and our experiences, and acknowledge what we say. The more conversation you can have, the more you understand each other's perspective. Listening and having those conversations really, really does help. And more women, we would really, of course, like to see more women in leadership roles, and in leadership roles that they enjoy. Something we recognize sometimes, we talked with industry, and sometimes you get women coming in and then they leave. It's telling us something, that the environment isn't quite right sometimes. So again, how do we make sure that the environment is appealing and we feel accepted as the baseline? You know, we don't have to really prove ourselves to then be listened to. And then more things, which I think is more for kind of media and marketing. And we hear these conversations a lot about wanting representation of women and mountain bikers in general, like the whole spectrum of a mountain biker. You know, extreme, advanced, expert riders, but also, you know, we have very many types of people in mountain biking, and we want to see all of us. And this is, yeah, a very live conversation. So just to move on to what we want to see going forward. Most simply, again, helping to increase the visibility within ourselves. You know, who is out there, who can we talk to, who can we share experiences with, and who can we learn from? And maybe providing a hub with some case studies. You know, who's had really good solutions and who's put things in place that's really worked, and we can share that, and then it's easier for others to take inspiration. How can we make some improvements in these areas? And then ideas within the Women's Network, there can be mentoring schemes to try and bring more women in to different leadership positions or to start on that way towards that. I'm really interested to hear about the DIRT project today, but also a feeling could there be a specific branch aimed at improving the inclusivity? Already these conversations might be in place, so yeah, but this is something that would be really nice to get more women in trail building. Like, absolutely, it would be super cool to see more and more of us getting involved. And then some really wide things, you know, could there be, so I asked if we had budget, what might we do? And could there be a Europe-wide inclusivity training framework for everybody to provide the education and the guidance, because so often we don't really know what it is and what to do. So yeah, big idea. You know, can we make something that can train from bike shops to guiding and trail building courses, all of this. Yeah, and then just to IMBA Europe, yeah, we want to see a progress board. So Fiona talked about this. We put commitments on the board. What do we plan to do from now into the next year and a half? And it'd be really nice to have a progress board celebrating successes we can see. Here for more women, we really tried this. There was a real focus on this, and it was really great hearing from so many women in mountain biking already at this summit, and we continue to focus on this going forward. As a network, we'd like to work with other organizations to leverage some funding to support women-led projects, because quite often we see, especially when the industry struggles and money gets tight, quite often we feel some of the women initiatives lose the funding first, or you know, you end up focusing on you maybe lose the range of projects that get funding. And of course, then we have lots of ideas for online meetings, so we meet together, share ideas, educate each other, discuss. Maybe we have a IMBA Europe reflections, or before the next one, so we let people who haven't come before. What is it? Is it a place for you? Should you come? Is there value for you coming? And it'd be really nice to share this with people who might be thinking to come and join, and then they can get involved. So you start to get the picture. We definitely work on this going forwards. And yeah, we see where it goes. I think really exciting to put a focus on this. And as I said already, it's very much ongoing work. But again, hopefully, like trail advocacy, we can look up every once in a while when it feels slow and like nothing changes, and we see everything that has happened already. So yeah, looking forward to seeing the progress that we can all make together. So thank you.